Hey guys, welcome to my channel. I'm Miley, and if you've ever thought that installing a green toilet in your bathroom was a good idea, hit that subscribe button. So this video is somewhat of a continuation of my last video. Last week I created 3 accent walls, and the 3rd accent wall that I created was in one of my guest bathrooms. So this week I'm just going to be continuing on with the bathroom makeover and finishing this project. I'm slightly nervous for this because I have to learn how to do a few things, like change a faucet and change a light. What could go wrong? So wish me luck, and let's just get started. So last week before I got started, this is what I was working with. Yikes, I know. And after painting, this is the current state of the bathroom. A little bit better, but man, there is still a lot to do in here. Up first on my long list of to-dos is making a new towel rack and some open shelving for above the toilet. So last week when I was getting started, I had this moment where I thought I was the Incredible Hulk and just started to rip things off the wall, creating these giant holes that I ended up having to patch. I did the best I could with covering them up, but they are still pretty visible. So my goal for this towel rack was obviously 1, have a place to hang up some towels, and 2, minimize the visibility of these patched holes. And same for the shelving, I wanted to minimize the visibility of these patched holes while creating some cool open storage. Both the towel rack and shelves were super easy to make, and I knew they would be easy, so I made them first to just get them done and out of the way. For the towel rack, I wanted a board spanning the whole length of the wall, which was just under 6 feet, and for the shelves, I decided on 2 feet across. After cutting, sanding, staining, I let them sit for a few hours until dry and popped them up on the wall. For the towel rack, I decided on doing 4 hooks across the board at a spacing that took me way too long to figure out. I'm pretty sure I stared at this board for about 45 minutes before making up my mind on how far apart I wanted the hooks. But that's besides the point. I decided to go with hooks over one of those bar things like the one I ripped off the wall, because with a hook, you can just toss your towel on it. I'm not sure if it's just me, but every time I have a bar to put my towel on, I feel the need to nicely fold my towel and place it on it and make sure it's perfect. And you know what? Who has the time for that? So for my own sanity, hooks are definitely the better option for me. Next was putting up these floating shelves, and they were just as easy as the towel rack. I picked up 4 of these L-shaped brackets that attach to the wall, and then the board just sits on top and gets screwed in at the bottom. Which brings me to my point, never buy pre-made floating shelves. They're overpriced for what they are, and they're so easy to make yourself. And with these 2 things done and crossed off my to-do list, I moved on to the vanity. In my last video, I went over the fact that in this bathroom, the shower, toilet, sink are green. And instead of getting rid of these, I took it as a design challenge to make them work. They're a light sagey green, and it's the type of green that reminded me of spa decor. So that is where I pulled a lot of my influence for this design. In spa decor, you see a lot of white used, you see a lot of gray, you see this pretty green and lots of greenery used, and you also see a lot of wood. With the wood aspect being worked in through the towel rack and the shelving, my goal for this vanity was to further capture that spa vibe. And the black was just not working. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love black, and it is still incorporated into this design through the hardware that I chose, but a full black vanity was just really weighing down the space. So I decided to take this vanity gray. Luckily for me, my dad recently got cabinets painted by professionals, you know, people that actually know what they're doing. So I talked to my dad and got a step-by-step guide of everything they did. Using a brush, I did 2 super duper thin layers of primer to start off, and I'm talking thin. Most of the time there was hardly any paint on my brush, and I would just go over the surface over and over again, really working the paint in. When I got to the gray paint, I did the same thing, 2 layers of the paint, pretty thin, and I really worked the paint into the surface, making sure there were no goopy areas. And when it came to sealing this paint, I used a matte clear spray enamel. And if you have seen my IKEA flip video, you know enamel paint is my new favorite way of painting furniture. And for this project, I decided to give the spray enamel a try, and I think it is my new favorite way of using enamel paint. It was super easy and really quick. Unfortunately, my brain was a bit scattered for this project, so I forgot to get clips of me actually using the spray enamel. Oops. And like I said, I still incorporated black into my design because, well, 1, black's my favorite, and 2, I specifically love black hardware. I think it's sleek and modern and really can just instantly update a space. My favorite way to update furniture and make it feel more high-end is through nicer hardware. I find spending an extra $2 to $3 per handle really goes a long way. I picked these knobs and handles for a few reasons. 1, I love mixing hardware, doing something different on the cabinet doors versus the drawers. And these handles and knobs are steel, which in my mind makes them feel more durable and high-end versus the cheap, lightweight aluminum handles that used to be on this vanity. So in the continued efforts of trying to update this vanity, this countertop is too busy, it's outdated, and at some point I do want to just replace it altogether, but I have not made up my mind on what I want it to be. For a while I thought about a butcher block countertop, but with the wood that I've already worked into the bathroom, I'm not sure butcher block would go anymore. So I'm still searching and trying to make up my mind on what I want to replace this countertop with. So until then, I decided to try painting this countertop. Yep, that's right, you heard me. Paint it. And what do you paint a countertop with? Well, countertop paint. For the most part, this paint is fairly similar to normal paint. It's a little bit rubbery. It's kind of like painting with rubber, but it can be applied with a brush or a sponge. I did a combination of the two, but there's a few things I wish I would have known. 1, the can says to wait at least 1 hour in between your first and second coat. So I waited an hour and went back to do the second coat. But I wish I would have waited more like 2 to 3 hours, because when I went to do the second coat, as I was rolling, I noticed I was slightly picking up the first coat, and so I had to reapply paint over and over again. And that meant I got some goopy areas that I now have to fix this week. And the reason I have to wait until this week to fix it is because this paint takes 5 to 7 days to fully cure. So it's been 3 days already. I'm gonna wait a few more days, go in, sand it down, smooth everything out, and do a third coat. And the second thing I wish I would have known is this paint is pretty smelly. Think of spray paint, but times 10. And that meant I had to stop painting a few times and take a break just to get away from the fumes. But altogether, this is a great cheap way to update some counters, and this will definitely do for the time being. So now comes the fun part of stepping outside of my comfort zone and learning how to change a faucet and change a light. I'm not going to go over what I did. I'm just going to put 2 links down below to the videos I watched to learn how to do these. But I will say both of these ended up being way easier than I thought they were going to be. So if I can do it, you definitely can do it. And I have to mention, I love this light, and I got it for $5 on Facebook Marketplace. So this is your sign to look for stuff on Facebook Marketplace, because you can find the dopest stuff. And here is the bathroom, all complete, pre-decorated. I love how it turned out, and now, obviously, it's my favorite part, decorating. And don't mind my cat, she has just happily inserted herself throughout this video. I am so happy with how this project turned out. It is night and day different from what it looked like, and I think I achieved my goal of neutralizing and making the green toilet, green sink, and green shower work. And I think I captured that spa vibe while still adding some touches of Miley in there. I mean, it's so serene, my cat just decided to fall asleep in the sink. If you liked this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel. I do a new video every week of a different DIY, so hit that notification button so you don't miss a video, and I will see you guys next week. Bye guys.